I'd like to call to order the March meeting of the Wilmington Planning Commission. Would those that are in the House please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Attorney, do we have a quorum? I notice we have no absences.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Let me read the following preamble and then we'll move on. Planning Commission advises council on applications for rezoning, land development, code amendments, street closures, and long-range plans and policies. The Commission holds legislative hearings, meaning that anyone wishing to speak on a request may do so. The Commission issues a recommendation based on consistency of the request with the intent and purpose of the Land Development Code and consistency of a request with the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan and other relevant adopted plans and policies. All matters requiring Commission action shall be presented to the Planning Commission by the staff and the applicant. In situations where the planning staff is the applicant, there will only be one presentation. City staff will make the first presentation, applicant will make the second. Both presentations are limited to 5 minutes each. To maintain an orderly meeting, all presentations shall proceed without interruption unless the Commission desires to intervene with questions or comments. The Chair will open the public hearing for those physically present wishing to speak on an item. Those in favor of an item shall be heard first, followed by those opposed. Both sides of the equation will get 10 minutes each. Ms. Painter is the timekeeper tonight. Staff member will, and that is the staff member who will track the 10-minute time periods. Chair at my discretion may extend these time periods. All groups, organizations, neighborhoods, or similar associations desiring to comment are asked to appoint one spokesperson to present their concerns or point of view to the Commission on each agenda item. The public has been encouraged to submit their comments in writing via a web-based form located on the City City of Wilmington's website. All comments received prior to 3 p.m. today were forwarded unedited to the Planning Commission. Amy, I'm assuming we have none. Okay. All comments received will be delivered to City Council. When the item advances, all comments received shall be made available to the public if requested. Voting will be voice votes after proper motions are made. The Chair will state the outcome of the vote and the action. Any appeals on rezoning requests that receive an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission may be appealed by the applicant to the Wilmington City Council. Appeals should be in the form of a letter submitted to the City Clerk within 10 days of this hearing. Any item that is appealed will tentatively be heard by City Council at their April 15 meeting. Having said all that, let's move forward. First item is the approval of the minutes from last meeting. Any additions, comments? Commissioner Kofer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, on page 2, that applicant's name is Cardamone, C-A-R-D-A-M-O-N-E. So just paragraph 8 and 9, he just had a misspelling in the name. That was my only comment.
Amy, you got that one? Okay. Anybody else? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes with the change that Commissioner Kofer has put forth?
To accept the minutes as amended by Mr. Kofer.
I have a motion from Commissioner Adams, seconded by Commissioner Lennon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Minutes are approved with the correction that Commissioner Kofer brought forth. Having said that, new business we have tonight is one item, the LDC Amendment to amend the City Code, Chapter 18, Sections 18-423 to allow a height exception for hospitals. In this case, Mr. Brian Chambers will present to the Commission.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request a recusal for discussion on this item.
Understand, and we've talked about it, so I need a motion to recuse Commissioner Adams from this item.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion approved by brought forth by Commissioner Woodruff, seconded by Commissioner Collier. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You are recused. Having said that, Mr. Chambers, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. The purpose of this amendment is to restore a hospital height exception. The Legacy Code, which was effective in November of 21, included a height exception for hospitals, schools, and religious institutions. It allowed a height up to a maximum of 150 feet, and it applied to all districts in which these uses were located. It was originally added to the code in '05. The New Hanover Regional Medical Center is the only use that has actually utilized that exception. And you'll see on the screen, there's the last building that came through in 2017, which had a height of 104 feet, which exceeded the height limits of the district, of the O&I district at that time. Our current code does not have this exception for specific uses. The height limit is established for the zoning district and is applied uniformly. Hospitals are currently only permitted in the O&I district with prescribed conditions, and the maximum height limit in the O&I district is 96 feet. And I will say that 96 feet is required to have a step back above 45 feet. So the example on the screen will shows basically the step back provisions require anything over 45 to be 1-to-1. So every foot of height has to be set back 1 foot. So, excuse me, a 96-foot tall building, which is the height limit, then the O&I would be set back 96 feet. Here are the prescribed conditions for hospitals. I'm not going to go into all these. I just wanted to point out the one that kind of relates to this. The buildings for all hospital buildings on any site would have to be set back 100 feet from the lot line. That in and of itself exceeds the 96 feet height limit. This is the proposed amendment. Hospitals were permitted in any district may be erected to a height not exceeding 150, and it does point out that all prescribed conditions and building step back provisions would still apply in commercial districts. This amendment restores the 150-foot height exception for hospitals. It would allow future expansions to continue to utilize the height allowance that was in place at the last time there was an expansion of the hospital campus. All prescribed conditions and building step-back provisions would still apply. Staff does believe this proposal is consistent with our comprehensive plan and is recommending approval. Staff is the applicant, so I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Did we just leave the 150-foot item off?
I think there was an attempt to just provide uniformity and treat all uses the same.
Okay.
Unfortunately, for the hospital, they've come to rely on this over the past 20 years. So taking that away has really hampered their ability to the flexibility they need when they're building that campus out.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Commissioner Lennon?
Two real quick ones. So this would apply to any future hospitals too?
Correct.
Okay. And I appreciate the inclusion or the reference to the airport, it can't infringe upon airspace of the airport or any FAA restrictions.
Right, that's would still remain in place.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then last question, is there a helipad at Cape Fear?
I do not believe so. I don't know. I'm not aware of one.
Or is that at the orthopedic hospital?
Yeah.
God, I've been there.
Okay.
I don't
Not that
believe
I'm
there
aware
is,
of.
but I
Not
don't
that
know
I'm
for
aware of.
certain.
Okay. There's not?
There's not.
Okay. A little birdie
There's
just told me
there's not one at Cape Fear.
Speaking with such authority, Brian.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Seeing that you are the applicant as well, then no more questions for you, and I'll open it up to a public hearing real quick.
Yes, sir.
Are there any people in the audience that are wishing to speak pro or con against this item? Ask one more time, anybody wishing to speak on this item at all? I'll close the public hearing. Do I have any discussion amongst the commission? One, Commissioner Gopher.
Yeah, just to clarify, the figure 1873.3, it references in the legend the adjacent residential property line. But it looks like the sentence structure is from any property line, any lot line. Is that correct? Is that just, this is just a illustration?
Right. The setback will be from any side or front or side property line.
Okay, residential, commercial, indifferent, just any line. Okay.
The graphic says residential, so I want to default to that, but I believe it's any. I could confirm that right quick.
Well, on page 2 of our packet, it says it would be stepped back from front and side lot lines. And I assume that syntax is specific to any lot line. But then it just shows the legend or the key mentions the residential. I just had a little confusion there.
everyone that's dialed in, Mr. Chambers is checking real quick, so to answer Commissioner Kofer's question.
It is any front or side lot line for any district, and then all lot lines when adjacent to a residential district. So it will apply to the rear lot line if there's a residential district.
Okay. Well, I think that's a positive for residential, adjacent to residential. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Just one.
Commissioner Collier.
So, Brian, is the step back 150 feet if they go up to the 150 feet, or does the 100-foot setback cover it and there's no additional setback to go to 150?
I would interpret it to be a one-for-one for everything over the by right. So it would be, if it's a 150-foot tall building, it would be a 150-foot setback.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyone else? What are the wishes of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. I'd like to make
Okay.
a motion. I'd like to move approval on agenda item number 1, the Land Development Code Amendment to allow height exceptions for hospitals. This request is reasonable and consistent with the objectives and policies of the following plans adopted by the City of Wilmington, the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan. And the Planning Commission considers its approval to be reasonable and in the public interest, as the proposed amendment will restore the height exception for hospitals, allowing future expansions to utilize the height allowance available under the Legacy Code. Planning Commission recommends approval of this request.
Commissioner Lennon has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
From Commissioner Jones? I heard you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, amendment passes, so thank you, Mr. Chambers. With that, we will close the regular agenda and go to any items from the commission. And before I do that, let me welcome Commissioner Adams back. Any items from the commission?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay. Commissioner Lennon.
I promise, because of the brevity of this meeting, that I will also be short tonight and my normal lesson will be compacted. Mr. Chambers, can you help me out? I just wanted to make the commission and anyone who happens to be watching aware of these resources. NCDOT actually has traffic counts across the state of North Carolina for all major roads. The Wilmington MPO also has traffic counts for major thoroughfares and roadways within its territory. I tell you this because if you actually get bored one day and start clicking on these dots, you'll see, as Mr. Chambers has highlighted, it gives you historical traffic counts going back, in some cases, well more than 10 years. Would you be shocked to learn that the traffic counts on Oleander used to be higher than they are today? Would you be shocked to know that the counts on Shipyard used to be higher? When you really get bored and you start looking at the dates where I-140 and its various segments opened up, or where 17th Street Extension opened up, or even the Independence expansion, you start to see those relief valves kick in and traffic minimized on those thoroughfares. So I think it's important for people that are constantly concerned about traffic that the system is working and we are building these outlet roadways to help address the growing municipality and growing area that we have. It'll be most intriguing, and I promise to come back with a report when the counts on the military cutoff extension are done, and they are not as of yet. So I would just encourage everybody to spend some time looking at these two websites.
Brian, can you post this link up on the Planning Commission website or someplace where people can access it, or?
So the MPO one, if you just go to the MPO site,
okay.
there's a maps icon, and a couple of clicks and you're there.
Okay.
I'll be happy to email this. I emailed this link to Amy and Brian today, and I'll be happy to send this one to you for DOT.
Yeah, please do.
Follow up to that, John, is that where they lay the cable across the road and that's how the data is collected?
Unfortunately, I know more about this. Yes, it is. But they also will do, to answer everybody's next question, they will do adjustments based on things they know to be true. For example, the lane closure on the Memorial Bridge. They would not do a road count on Castle Hayne Road, for example, because there were thousands more cars coming. So they would adjust that out of the data. The other thing that, I had another really good point to that and just totally escaped my mind, but yes, that is how they do it.
And so, and this is just true data points, not modeling. This is raw data
They're actual
injected
counts.
into this. That's cool.
Correct.
Anyone else?
And if you don't think they're accurate, I'm sorry, you can tell exactly when COVID happened. It's really intriguing when you look at it.
John, thanks for sharing that. Items from the staff.
The council considered the 4 items that you took up at your February meeting and approved all of them. There was the commercial parking lot on College Acres, the entertainment complex on Oleander, the general rezoning on South Front and Mears, and the general rezoning on Market Street.
What became of the resolution on the bridge? I had to leave, so I hadn't had a chance to follow up.
They adopted a substitute resolution put forward by the mayor.
Okay,
So
all right.
he read it into the record, so
It's in the record.
It's in the record. It's,
Okay.
you'd have to go back. I don't know that there's a print version because it was read into the record as a substitute motion.
Okay. The other thing that you and I been talking about, and I got the note from Travis about trying to schedule up a special meeting to go over
Yes.
the downtown plan
Yep.
before it goes to conference. So I don't know if he's reached out to you guys, but he will, to try to pull us together for a special meeting.
And we're looking at April. So we asked the chair, I know that the chair had indicated he had some prior commitments, so we're looking to identify some dates around that we can send out to everybody.
Anything else? Mr. Attorney, anything? I guess I'll also share with, we've talked about policies and procedures real quick, and I just, in talking with Mike at the agenda review, the team is looking at aligning those policies and procedures with the different boards and commissions to the best that they can. So we'll be looking to see the results of that when you come out with it. Okay, you have nothing else? Nothing else from the commission? I need a motion to close the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn our March meeting.
I have a motion from Commissioner Adams. I have a second from Commissioner Woodruff. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned.